Have you ever taken the MARC train out of the Caperton Station in Martinsburg to Union Station in DC? That trip is mostly taken by commuters, but it's a pretty cool thing to do. It stops in Harpers Ferry, travels over the Potomac, and goes through a mountain. So put it on your list of things to do up here. You can make that trip from the Martinsburg Caperton Station, from the Harpers Ferry train station, and from Duffield's. They all are historic train stations. They have a very interesting story to tell. I'm going to go over some of that history and then at the end share a link so you can download the schedules of all three stations. And by the way, if you have questions about the Eastern Panhandle, be sure to reach out. You can call, text, email, or schedule a time to chat. Our contact information is below and we'd love to hear from you. Okay, there's three operating train stations here. The Caperton Station in Martinsburg, and in Jefferson, there's Harpers Ferry and Duffield's. The most significant, as far as notable historic events goes, is the train station in Martinsburg. The original structure was a combination station hotel built by Washington Crowson around 1849. The B&O railroad lines in Martinsburg traversed the boundary between the North and South, so it was a military target during the Civil War. This short video from the president of the Martinsburg Council Historical Society, Tom Funkhauser, explains it pretty good.
Yeah, the railroad brought the Civil War to town. If maybe, in the Shenandoah Valley is a nice funnel for people traveling, but the railroad brought the Civil War to Martinsburg. It was the importance of the roundhouse. The roundhouse turned the locomotives, it serviced the locomotives, and if you didn't have that, you didn't have a railroad. So strategically, the railroad was important to the north. Equally, it was important to the south, that the south understood if the north didn't have the railroad, they couldn't fight the war as well. So Stonewall Jackson was charged by the Southern Robert E. Lee to control the railroad. He was sent here once. He took possession of the roundhouse and of the railroad, and it was a modern marvel. So he did not destroy it. What he did was he disassembled it. He took the locomotives, he took the turnstile, he disassembled things, and they created rail pretzels. So they would heat the rails and twist them around trees. They didn't completely destroy the roundhouse. It wasn't until the North's persistence that Jackson was charged with destroying the roundhouse, upon which he lit the entire facility on fire and burned it to the ground.
Jackson spared the hotel part of the station because it was privately owned. Martinsburg was on the border between the North and South and changed hands nearly 40 times during the Civil War. Following the war, the B&O began reconstruction of the roundhouse and the buildings around there in 1866, and that's pretty much what you see today. Another significant event happened about 10 years later. The B&O company had been consistently cutting wages so that the owners could continue to receive huge profits. The workers at the Martinsburg station unhooked a trainload of cattle so it could not be moved. And that began their great railroad strike, which spread throughout the country. That strike has been called the birth of the labor movement. The Martinsburg train station is among the oldest surviving railroad station in the United States. An addition was added in 1977, the Caperton Station, which adjoins the original hotel train station, and it's now used as the ticket office and waiting area. The Roundhouse is now a venue for all kinds of events, weddings, trade shows. There's tours of the facility. And there's a project underway, the city's Marketplace project, which is a plan to improve the Roadhouse facility to make it more comfortable. Updated HVAC and insulation, things like that. Those buildings are from the 1800s, so it's needed. The goal is to attract permanent tenants in there and host seasonal farmers markets, educational events. It's part of the regeneration that's going on in Martinsburg. Heading up to the train stations in Jefferson County, Duffield's is located in Shenandoah Junction. The original Duffield's station is the second oldest station in the United States, built in 1839. It was also a focus of Civil War fighting and changed hands several times. Today, the Duffield station is a small train stop with MARC train service to DC Union Station. The Harpers Ferry train station is part of the Harpers Ferry National Park. It's on the Register of Historic Places. The current station was built about 30 years after the Civil War ended. It is a charming Victorian wood structure dating back to 1889 and part of the downtown historic district. There's a spectacular views all around that building. The Martinsburg and Harpers Ferry train station are worth a visit even if you aren't going anywhere. They are reminiscent of those quaint train depots you think of in the early days of this country. The buildings were built for beauty as much as function. I live not far from the Martinsburg station, so it's often part of the stops on my walk. It's just a nice place to sit and sort of soak it all in. The grounds around the Martinsburg station are planned to be a central point for 2 walking trails through the city. That's part of the generation happening in this area. And I plan to do a video on that sometime soon. Here's the link to the train schedules. It's on our website, meetmeinthepanhandle.com/train schedules. Okay, thanks for tuning in again. If you found this video helpful, click the subscribe and like button. Help us out a little bit with YouTube's algorithm. And if you are a walker or hiker, the video to the right points out some walking paths in Berkeley County. Okay, have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.